All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Robert D. McCrary, and I'm going to go over Tableau Public. This is the first part of a two-parter. I'm going to be going over really more of an introduction of Tableau Public, and then on the second part, which will happen next week, I'm going to go over advanced features of Tableau Public. So, I guess to start off, for those of you who do not know me, I am a PhD student in data science, and I've been doing independent consulting for about maybe 6 years at this point, mostly working with nonprofits, university researchers, and businesses. And I typically tend to use R, that is the tool of preference, but I also gravitate towards Tableau because you can create very easy visualizations that look really cool. So, with that, I'm going to be covering what is Tableau Public, what Tableau Public is not, and why you should use Tableau Public. I think these are the three core features of any presentation to a new tool. Well, this isn't a new tool, but a tool that maybe the audience is unfamiliar with. And the last time I gave this presentation, someone in the audience started asking questions about the features of Tableau. And I think it made me realize it's really important to include what Tableau Public cannot do. Well, in any case, at the end of this, we're going to do a hands-on tutorial where each of you will have the opportunity to create a Tableau Public free account and create your own visualizations. So I hope you brought laptops and Wi-Fi. So as I mentioned before, and it should be pretty obvious at this point, Tableau Public is a free data visualization platform. It is completely free. As a matter of fact, you don't even need to install it because you could access it online, through the web. Tableau Public is great for professional interactive charts, graphs, maps, and dashboards. What makes it so great is its intuitively drag and drop interface, which allows you to create these visualizations very quickly and allows you to focus more on storytelling with the data. Also, Tableau Public is ideal for making your data accessible and for engaging a broader audience. As you will see, once you publish visualizations and data to Tableau Public, they will be accessible and viewable by anyone who has their own free Tableau Public account. Now, this part's really important. Tableau Public, right? It's not a data manipulation tool. It's important to understand Tableau Public is first and foremost a visualization tool. While it does offer some basic data manipulation, it's not designed for heavy data cleaning. It's just not really good at it. So please don't try it. It is also not suitable for complex analysis. While it can calculate basic descriptives, it's not designed for complex calculations or statistical model. So please do not try. It is possible if you use a combination of R and Tableau, but that's just, why would you even do that? Just don't, okay? Tableau Public also, it's not the same as Tableau. Unlike Tableau Public, Tableau is not free. It's actually pretty pricey, and it's really meant to integrate with large corporate networks. So yeah, very different. Why would you want to use Tableau Public? It's really easy to use. It has an intuitive interface, like I told you before, which makes it very easy to create visualizations without using code. It's also really fast. You could create and explore data very quickly, again, because you're not really using any code at all. And so what that does is it allows you to really focus on the data. And it's, again, free. I don't know how many of you have tried exploring different visualization software, but they can be very pricey, especially if you're using the actual Tableau. The full version costs about $1,000 every year, give or take. And a lot of the features are very similar to Tableau Public, So again, I just think you need to be happy for that because I paid for it once and I don't recommend it. In any case, let's move on to the hands-on tutorial. Again, we're going to be covering how to create an account, how to create visualizations, how to connect with data, and things like that. So if you brought your laptop, please take it out and prepare for this portion of the training. And you know what? While you do that, I just realized I need to quickly make the data set for this training. So while you're taking out your laptops and making sure that you connect to your respective Wi-Fis, let me quickly type in here. Give me like 5 minutes, 2 minutes. Let me see. And in the meantime, please head over to, what is the website? public.tableau.com/app/discover. At this time, actually, most of you already have the data. So maybe you could pull it up, make sure you have it accessible. If you don't have a laptop, make sure you're next to someone who does, and you could do this together. So what I'm doing is I'm creating a couple of columns to be used, and I want to make sure that I use numeric columns, string columns, and geographic type columns. Yeah. So we're going to have zip codes for column 5. Okay. If you need a coffee break, now would be the time. Okay. And that should take care of the data set. And then I need to save that as a CSV because we will be using this as a CSV file. And then we're not going to have any row names. And I need to change that path to my downloads folder. Let me see. Okay, and then lastly, I think I'm going to change the column names. That's not right. All right, so you got a free impromptu training on how to create a data set in R and export it as a CSV. Little surprises like these, that's what makes the day wonderful. I should probably use paste. All right. It works. It works. All right. So as I mentioned before, please head over to the websites of Tableau Public. Here it is at the very top, so you could copy and paste it in case you still haven't found it. And this will take you to the home page of Tableau Public, where we're gonna create. Um, yeah, and just showing you as well, by the way, make sure you go to this page because if you were to just type in Tableau login, you're gonna find a lot of different products offered by Tableau, and the sign in is not necessarily gonna take you to Tableau Public. You need to go to the link that's mentioned up here, that's written up here to create that account and access Tableau Public. So if you have an account, feel free to sign in. Just click that button up to the top right. Otherwise, you go ahead and create an account. All right, so go ahead and click on it and type in your name, um, Robert McCrary, blah, 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 your email, and then create a strong password, preferably strong. And when you're done, go ahead and click that and you'll create your account. You may need to verify it. Tableau might send you an email. So once you're done with that, go ahead and sign in. I should also mention that there are some sections within the Tableau public homepage that are really interesting, and we'll go over this later. But yeah, there are a lot of visualizations that are being featured, and they often change by week, sometimes by day. And these are being created by other people who use Tableau Public to create their visualizations. So feel free to peruse this every now and then, even if you don't use Tableau Public, because these are a lot of great visualizations and they could give you ideas. All right, so let's go ahead and sign in. I have my sign in login information already saved because I came prepared. Once you put in your credentials, you're going to be taken back to the home page. At this point, click on the top right where your face is and go to your profile. Now, you're going to be seeing 6 tabs. So the first tab, 6. The first tab, I could count. The first tab is Vises, and those are any public visualizations that you've created. Afterwards, you're going to have favorites, but I should probably mention it's really easy to make a visualization private or to feature it on your profile. And you could also delete your visualizations on here as well. Okay, going back. So if you go to the favorites tab, it's going to take you to any visualizations that you favorited. If you're following any person from the Tableau community, they're going to show up there as well. If anyone is following you, they're going to show up under followers. And then my favorite tab is the hidden tab. And this is where you keep all of your visualizations that you decide not to share to the public. As you can tell, I have a bunch, like over 100 easily. The last tab is stats, and that shows the stats of your visualizations, who has viewed your visualizations, things like that, and also your top visualizations. So that could be useful going forward to keep track of, how popular you are on this platform. And then, you probably don't have your picture if you just created a new account, but you could go ahead and upload one. You could also have some customizations for your banner. It's kind of lame, but it's just something to do. I just have mine all black and squares. That's probably it. Yeah. Okay. So you could also put in more information. What I did, for example, is I put in my LinkedIn, a couple of websites, and more information, such as my bio. You could also, by clicking on this, you can indicate that you are available for hire. This does not mean that you're going to get hired. This just means that anyone can see whether or not you do visualizations for a price, for free, for a project, whatever. In this case, I'm going to just keep that ticked off because I don't really care about that at the moment. Okay, and now we are ready to create a viz. And I'm quickly changing to my other microphone for this part. So the first thing that you want to do in order to start building visualizations in Tableau is to import some data. Here in Tableau Public, you're going to be given two options. One, you can drag and drop files directly onto this square here by uploading from your computer, or you could go to the Connectors tab over here and upload files directly from your Google Drive if you happen to have one. And you could also connect to databases using OData, if I recall correctly. One thing that I should mention is that if you do decide to connect with your Google Drive, you should be able to use Google Sheets data as well. So that's pretty cool. If you want to learn more, just click on this button and it'll tell you more information. Probably more information than you'd like to know at the moment. So yeah, these are some of the connectors that you can connect to, I believe. And these are all databases. So for the purposes of this training, we're going to go ahead and upload directly from our computer. And I want you to upload test_data.csv, which is the file that I believe was provided to you all. And it's the file that we're using for this workshop. Okay, so first thing is first. This interface may not be intuitive at the very beginning, but it quickly will be. The first thing that I recommend doing is to change the name from test data to anything that better reflects the visualizations that you'll be creating. So in this case, I'm going to call this test data for Tableau Public Workshop, or I'll just put part 1. This is the name that people will see when you start publishing your visualizations on Tableau Public. So it's pretty helpful. Once you choose a name that you decide, the second thing that I normally do is I bring this up because I want to make sure that the data were read correctly. So the first thing that I'm going to do for this is click the Update Automatically button. And what this does is it just shows the values for each column. We'll see here that the first two columns are indeed, numeric. And then we have string, string. This is supposed to be a zip code, so we're going to have to change that, the data type. And then this is also string, but these are abbreviated states, which are a special type of data type, and I'll let you know what that means. To the left, you're going to find basically the same thing. This is just like metadata for each column. So it tells you what type of data it is, and if you click on it, you'll see there are two number types. There's a date and time data type, just date, string, boolean. And then you have here geographic data types. So for example, if you have names of airports, like the John F. Kennedy Airport, I forget where it is, but I've been there. Or, an area code, city, etc., all the way down to zip codes, which we're going to use for column 5. You could also access the data type and change it from the table view as well. And that's what we're going to do because column 5, as I mentioned, is zip code. So we're going to keep that as it is in terms of number because it is a number. But the data type better reflects zip code data. Now you'll notice that a little sphere came up here. And that symbol just represents that this data is a geographic data type. For column 6, this is also geographic data. However, it is, state /province data. So we're going to click that. because this is abbreviations of states. Perfect. So now we have our data set up and read in as this should be. What else? To the far left, you're going to notice here the files. We only have one file at the moment, test underscore data, which is our CSV file. If you have multiple files and if they can merge, you can do some merging, like, SQL commands. But in this case, Tableau Public, you just drag and drop. So if I had a second file here, I could just take it and drop it here, and then I could connect these either by, a left union or right union, things like that. But we're going to save that for the second part of the workshop. For now, let's just ignore this. What else? Yeah, we're not going to publish this yet, but when we're ready, clicking on this button will publish your visualizations onto Tableau Public. Now that we're happy with the data and the way it's being read, we're going to go ahead and click on Create Extract. What this is going to do is create a copy of the data onto the cloud server of Tableau Public. So let's click on that and create extract. As it says here, sometimes this might take a while because, if you have, 10,000 rows, clearly that's going to take longer than 10 rows, which is the case that we have right now. Instead of clicking extract, you can also just simply create your first visualization, which is here at the bottom. And I'll go into it in a bit. In this case, we'll just create extract because we're cool like that, I guess. And it's taking a while. It shouldn't take this long, actually. So this could happen, apparently. Let's try this again. So, yeah, Tableau Public. Clearly, it's not perfect. Let's try this one more time. This is weird. This shouldn't be happening. So let's try doing this. Can I refresh the data set? Yes. Let's just go to new data source and hopefully. Yeah, it doesn't matter what I click, it's not working. So in any case, yeah, sometimes Tableau Public is a bit glitchy. It tends to happen, I guess it's normal. What I'm going to do very quickly, because this may happen to you as well, is start a new visualization. I am not going to publish, so don't publish. And let's try this again. Upload from computer. Perfect. Give it a name again. What did we call it? Test data for Tableau Public Part 1. And then we just need to change. We don't need to see this, so I'm not going to click update. We need to change this into a zip code, and then this is going to be a state. Okay, now hopefully it works. Yeah, this is really odd. So I have it open somewhere. Well, let's just give it a minute. Maybe it's something on my end. All right, so what is going on here? I'm gonna try to fix this, and let's get back to the recording once it is fixed. Okay, well, I was able to fix this by signing out and then signing back in. I guess this is one potential solution if you do run into this problem, which is unexpected. I normally don't run into this problem. So the data has been extracted and copied onto the cloud server of Tableau Public. And we're now ready to start our first visualization. To create your first visualization, you're going to click on Sheet here at the bottom. Similar to Excel, you could create many sheets, but in this case, each sheet is a visualization. You could also create dashboards if you click on the icon further to the right, where you take a combination of visualizations and you put it into a dashboard. And at the most furthest right at the bottom, you could also create a report, which is very similar to a dashboard, but I think this falls more in line with infographics. Again, this is going to be covered in the second part. So let's just delete these because we're not going to be needing them. And we're going to stick to only one visualization. Okay, within this interface, the first thing you need to know is that all of your columns are going to be to the left, which can be accessible by either double clicking on them, or you can also drag and drop. As you can tell, no coding is needed at all. It's one of the benefits of Tableau. So you'll notice a small little line right here. And you'll notice also that the colors, when you hover over these column names, change from blue to green. This is to differentiate what Tableau calls dimensions and measures. So dimensions are going to be in the top half right here. And these contain qualitative data, so strings, for example. They're categorical fields, which you could use to slice and dice your data for analysis. As I mentioned, they are colored blue to differentiate them from the bottom half, which are called measures. Now, you'll notice here that there is a field called measure names, which is not part of our data set. See, our data set goes from column 1 to column 6. So what measure names is it's basically a special field, and it contains the names of all of the measures or columns of the data source. So column 1, column 2. And what this field is useful for is to create visualizations that involve multiple measures simultaneously. So if you want to create, for example, multiple columns going down and you have different values for each one, this is what you would choose. In any case, let's go down to measures. So as you would imagine, measures contain numerical quantitative data. And in this case, we have extra fields as well. We have latitude and longitude, which, as shown here, is generated. And these are generated from our zip codes, which are column 5. Let's double check that. Yes, column 5 indeed is the zip code column. And then we have here another special field, which is the name of our data set. But basically, it's just a count. So if we want to count how many values we have in column 5, column 6, we just go ahead and click this one. And then we also have here measure values. And again, very similarly, this is a special field. It holds aggregated values for all measures included in the visualization. So basically, this is really useful when you're trying to bring in multiple measures into a view without manually having to drag every single measure count. Okay, so let that sink in for a bit. Let's create our first visualization while this sinks in. So we're gonna create, actually, yeah, I don't even know what this is anymore. Cancel. We're not creating a hierarchy, that's for something else. We're gonna go, yeah, column 3, which has different color names. And then what we're going to do is we're gonna get a field account for each of these. And you know what? I lied. Yes, let's use this. It's the same thing. Okay, so as you can tell, this bar chart populated automatically, very quick. There are many customizations that you can do, now that I think about this, that you're probably interested in. So the first thing that you may want to do is give it a title, right? In this case, we're going to call this a bar chart. You can change the font. So for example, let's go to Verdana and let's make this a bit bigger. We're going to make it bold and make it black. You could either click on apply or OK to keep these changes. The second thing I want to do is I want to get rid of this column 3 header. So what I'm going to do is not click remove. I'm going to go to hide field labels. And now it's gone. The same thing for here, but in this case, we're going to edit the axis because we probably do want to have something. And we're going to put here color count or just count. You could also make more changes here. So for example, you could include a 0 or you could exclude it, see how it left. And you could do more, different things like reverse the scale or make this into a log transformation. So basically you could do a lot of things just by clicking on things, right? One of the benefits, I know if you were to do this in RStudio using R or maybe also in Python, all of these would require calculations carried out by code. In this case, you just click buttons, which is pretty good. Now, you could also order the different categories here by clicking this button over here. See? Very simple. And then lastly, you could also change by clicking on each one. You could change a lot of features. For example, you could exclude the red group and it's gone. What you could also do is, there he goes, is only keep this. So by clicking on this, you could click on keep only and only the red will be shown. So this is really useful when you're trying to do live presentations, maybe for your dissertation or maybe for a client if you're doing a data collab. Okay, you'll also notice that when I hover over this, certain information populates. So for example, we know that the column name for this data set is column 3, and we know that this particular level is red. And then we also have a count of how many instances each color comes up in the data set. Again, you don't need to do anything. This happens automatically. One of the wonders of Tableau Public. If you go to the far right, there's a button called Show Me. And what this does is it provides recommendations for other visualizations that you can do with the data that you currently have selected. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this visualization, and we might as well give these names. We're going to call this, I don't know, this one. And we're going to have we're going to have a lot of fun with this other one, which is going to be Viz2. Okay, so for this other one, let's click on random stuff. So we can make this into a table where we have blue, green, red, and we have the counts. You could extend this very easily either way. You could also have a hybrid table where you have, shapes instead of numbers. And when you hover over the shape, it will give you again the count and the name of the column. A small heat map, a pie chart, which we all love and hold dear. And then some of these other visualization suggestions, they don't quite make sense. Like this is a stacked bar plot chart, and it doesn't really give us too much information other than we have a total of 10 rows, and then we have the division. But there are also some cool visualizations. Well, this one didn't come out cool. This one looks pretty nice. It's a fancy whisker plot. And then you get some weird things like this, which I think is weird personally. Just because we don't really use this in data science or statistics, this is more for qualitative, and even then, it's arguably useful. Okay, so let's now go back to our original charts, and I want you to create your own bar chart. So on your own, click on New Worksheet, and then make any visualization that you want. I'll give you 5 minutes. While you do that, I'm going to do the same thing. Do not copy me, okay? Do your own. And let's just time this. Where's the 5-minute mark? All right. If you need any help, feel free to contact anyone that knows Tableau Public. I'm sure there are people who have used this in the audience. Let me see. This was kind of fun. Yeah, look at that. Then I'm going to sort this. Although these names do look pretty ugly. Oh, and this is aggregated, which is why there's more than 10 rows. Okay. And we don't need all of this. Let's try something else. This is not as useful. Well, naturally. Well, you know what? What if I do this? And then we break this by... Let's give the labels. Okay, let's close that. Yeah, by the way, when you're using measure values and measure names together, it doesn't always work out. Just FYI. So let's delete this and make another one. 3 minutes left, roughly. Oh, I have an idea. Well, let's save this till later. Um, Now let's get a break. No. And I'm just clicking random things. Oh, pretty useful. Okay, let's see what this tells me. Okay. We don't need this. All right, about 2 more minutes until we go back to the training. Maybe I should also add. No, not yet. One more minute. Feel free to experiment. Go wild. Okay, 5 minutes are roughly up. Now, many of you probably have experienced by now that it's pretty easy to mess around and create visualizations that may or may not come out the way you want to. That's one of the things with Tableau Public, which is, I guess, kind of great because it allows you to focus on the actual visualization as opposed to wondering, how to write certain code or syntax to get what you want. Not to say that Tableau Public is all, click and drag and drop. You can have some code, and that'll be in the second part of the training. But it's not necessary most of the time. Okay, so we've created a bar chart. You've had the opportunity to create your own visualization. Now what we're going to do is conclude this training, the introduction part, with inspiration. So if you're happy and you think you want to share your visualization publicly, go ahead and click on publish. And you know what? I'm going to do that too. And we're going to call this Tableau Public Part 1. We're going to show each sheet as tab. We only have two. Sure, let's do that. And if you want, you can embed a password for the data source. In this case, I don't care to, but you have that option. Once you are happy with your selections and your name, the name of your visualizations, click on Publish. And you're done. Now let's get out of here. Congratulations, you published, if you did, your first Tableau public visualization. You'll notice that the name Tableau Public Part 1 is at the very top of the tab. That's the name of your series of visualizations. And then you have here Viz 1 and Viz 2. You can make these larger by clicking on the full screen. You could also download this by clicking on that little tab right there. I could download this as an image. I could download the data in this case because I allowed it, or a crosstab, or as a PDF, a PowerPoint, and lastly, as a Tableau workbook, which you can then use on other Tableau instances, including the full version of Tableau. Pretty cool, right? Let's go to your profile. So I imagine that this would be your name. And if you go to Viz's, oh, mine is not up here yet. Maybe it takes a while. Okay, let's ignore that. What I wanted to show you are now inspirational visualizations from other users who have created painstakingly really great visualizations using Tableau Public. And these are things that you too can recreate. So if you click on Tableau Public, it'll take you to the home page of Tableau Public, right? And the first thing that pops up when you're signed in is Viz of the Day. And this is a visualization that received the most views. I think it's for a couple of days or a single day. I forget how Tableau Public has it. But if you click on it, you'll see this great infographic called Global Population 2023. Just as with our own visualization, if you hover over the actual data of the visualization, it gives you information. So in this case, it gives you countries and population estimates. You could also choose the different countries from here, and I believe this person probably used a report style visualization. This is not a dashboard. Population change in percentages with a mean here in the middle. And I'll show you how to do that in the second part. Sorry, a median, not a mean. And so on and so on. Oh, and this person actually included the data source, which is pretty great. You always want to include a data source. Good practices. Okay, let's go back to Tableau Public, the home page. If you go further down, you're going to also notice here a section called Trending. And these are visualizations that, as you guessed, are trending. Let's click on this one. It's called 16 Different Ideas to Visualize Your KPIs. And this person was cheeky enough to include a signature here in the top right. I guess if you're creative enough, you could do whatever you want. You'll notice here that we have indeed 16 different visualizations. And some of these don't have any hovering capabilities. That is something you can disable, whereas others do have some minimal hoverability. So for example, here you'll notice that we have sales by year and that person needs to fix this. And then moving on, you'll see different visualizations. Again, this was all created within Tableau Public, which is great, right? I mean, I'm sure you could create this in Python and R, but it's going to take a lot of coding. And I'm just noticing here that you still need to be careful. In Tableau Public, for example, you see here that it seems like it says target achieved was cut off right here. So you're going to need to double check that your visualizations come out as intended. Okay. Now let's say that you really like this and you want to see, well, what other visualizations has this person created? Click on their username. Okay. So Kajal, Senior BI Consultant. Oh, Germany. Cool. And here you're going to see other visualizations that this person shared. So let's click on cycle and pedestrian trail usage. Oh, that's pretty neat. So there are two graphs or two charts overlaid on top of each other. We have here bar charts, right? Like bars, and then we have here a line chart. That is really cool. Feel free to click around and see what other information pops up. This is really cool, actually. I really like this. And then you could click here with pedestrian trails and the data changes accordingly. And this is pretty cool. I might just be motivated by this. Okay. Sankey diagram. So Sankey diagrams are difficult to pull off. And I speak from experience. I've spent maybe a couple of hours coding a Sankey diagram in R to look just the way I want it. And this person, oh, it's a title. And the second tab is the actual, this is nice. Look at that. And you could select certain paths or connections, which makes it very easy to differentiate and distinguish. This is very nice. Try doing this in Python or R. Good luck. Yeah, this is really cool. So here you have a count of phones, chairs, and other items. And you have here the distribution by category: furniture, office supplies, and technology. Yeah, pretty cool. So I think I can't think of anything else to add for this introductory section. If it was live, I think it'd probably be easier to go further along. But what I want you to do for the remaining time is I challenge you to create a visualization using the limited knowledge that you have, and sure, you could Google, that is complicated, as complicated as you can make it, but at the same time, very clear. Similar to this, for example. So let's go back, and I can help you get started with this. We're going to go to our profile, and oddly enough, I would expect, this could also be a glitch. Tableau Public has been acting really weird, but you're supposed to have your visualization here. I don't know if you're having this issue as well, but if any of you have issues finding the visualization that you created, just open test data again. Extract it immediately before Tableau Public decides that it wants to have another hiccup. And then after it's been extracted, oh no, it is, yeah, there you go. After it's been extracted, go ahead and make column 5 into zip codes and column 6 into state. Okay, create a visualization that is complicated or looks nice, right? And this is more for your, let's say, a competition. And I'm going to give you a challenge. I want you to create a visualization using zip codes. And this is column 5, where the longitude and latitude are automatically generated. I want you to try different things. So for example, you could superimpose areas, but actually, no, I don't want to give you more tips. Okay, no tips. So I want you to figure this out, okay? Try to create something cool with this. And believe me, it is much easier than you think. I'm going to give you one other tip. Go to map at the very top. Under background maps, you could change the color. So for example, you can make this dark. You could have street views, although I think you need to zoom in for that. There you go. So, just go crazy and try to do something with this. I will give a prize to whoever creates the most creative geographic visualization by next week. All right, so feel free to use the rest of the time to get started on this visualization. Believe me, there are some pretty cool things you can do with just a couple of clicks. I almost gave some hints and I chose not to. But seriously, you're going to love this. All right, and that concludes my part of